Okay, everybody. I'm waiting for everybody to come on in. I don't see anybody in the chat right now. But in the meanwhile, while we're waiting, I would like to play music. But unfortunately, I cannot do this. I really can't. Or maybe I can. Let me see what I got here for y'all. Let me see. Put on some R. Kelly because he's about the only music I could play without. I mean, some of his music I could play without it being hit with a copyright claim. If I could find anything of his right now, let me see. While I'm waiting for you all to come on in, this is a conversation we just gotta have for us as black women and all we dealing with in today's world, where we targeted, where we are targeted in the workplace, under so much pressure, under so much stress, under everything that we dealing with, trying to raise a family, trying to keep our head above water, like that song we used to sing from Good Times, keeping our head above water, making a way if you can, temporary laid off, and just trying to laugh and dance and everything through our pain. It's just not easy now that dealing with a world now that has gone social media. Everything is online and virtual now, and people just go on your social media account. Some go for the betterment, just to check, just to see if you know like I said, some things, sometimes you just get pushed over the edge. And this thing that happened is tragic. It's an unfortunate situation, and it's sad because 6 children have left with motherless. And then there was another incident that I told you I was going to talk about that it took place in another fast food restaurant where um, a young mother was also killed on the job by the hands of one of her co-workers who took a firearm and shot her dead right there in this place called Cookout in I think it's called Northwest, out in Northwest Charlotte, North Carolina. And that was a tragic situation. Her co-workers had to go hide in the bathroom to make a 911 phone call for first responders. Uh, Excuse me, they had to lock themselves in the bathroom until everything was safe. And first responders came and the girl was dead. And of course, look at what these, not only just the people who have been victims of violence on the job, but what about the staff that was there, the other workers that was there? How traumatizing was that? Where was anything, was they given any kind of help or any kind of mental trauma support or whatever for what they had to experience, being a witness in a place environment like this? And this is what this worker did. The business is, of course, Cookout is back in business, it's still operating. I wouldn't go there to eat. I wouldn't spend my money in a place like that. I'm sorry. When I see people are working in a place where it's toxic, when there is no safety whatsoever, people are overworked and underpaid, and in a place like in that place where people's lives just don't matter, I don't think I could support businesses like that. I'm sorry, because to me it's like whoever's the owner of these places is profiting off of bodies. Like, people go there to work but they don't care, no compassion, no public statement or whatever, no virtual, no support to the families or whatever, even if it's quiet. But look how, I wonder if they ever gave up any kind of trust money for the lives of the victims' children. Those are the things I look at. Like, are they offering anything to the families? Like, me personally, I don't think the family should go for no less than at least a couple of $1 million for the death of their mother. And for that happening, this is how I feel for the family of the children of Jennifer children. Jamma or whatever, Jennifer Jamma Harris. I don't think that family should just let this thing rest until justice is served for the life of their mother. That this could have been prevented in some sort of way. There could have been some early intervention. Knowing that this young lady did have some mental health issues and she was spiraling down, she was being pushed over the edge. It's like she kept this stuff documented on her TikTok, on her, if she had followers, if you was following her, she kept everything she was basically dealing with in her life, her loneliness and her way of being sexually harassed by her so-called landlord or whoever the person she was renting from, the place that she was living with at the time, and she was renting a room from, a male friend or whoever was harassing her for sex as a way to pay him for as favors. It was just so disgusting. She was screaming out of the top of her head, like, leave me alone. I don't want to have sex with you. Just go away. Get away. Please just leave me alone. She was living somewhere where she was being harassed to have sex with somebody just for favors. And she talked about her life. She talked about some of the other jobs that she had. She worked at another place she worked at another place, a cleaning company. She worked for a cleaning company also. Hey, Frankie, I'm glad you're here. She worked also trying to juggle another job she was doing at a cleaning company. And she says, no, I'm not going to clean this mess. This is just too nasty. Some things I'm just not going to do. And I mean, she wasn't that crazy, because I don't think I'm going to go clean somebody else's house either that keep their house really like a real filthy pig. And I know some people who actually told me they did some cleaning business, and they was like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe some of the houses that we had to do a cleanup at. And it was just disgusting. I mean, nasty, real funky and nasty. And it was just a dirty job. And she was like, y'all could keep that job. Do not call me to go in a place like that. If they ever call me again, I will not be returning. She was just talking about some of the jobs that she used to hustle to do, like in a cleaning company. And she also was working her hours because she was trying to find a better place to live. And she was under the stress that she was living in a place where she didn't feel safe, of being harassed to have sex with a dude that she really didn't want to be bothered with. She just needed a place to stay. So she did talk about all of this. And I do feel bad that it had to come to that breaking point. But I shared some of my own personal experiences too, like how sometimes these bosses, these directors, supervisors, in my place of business, the kind of work that I do, as I work for early education. And I worked for a lot of early education centers. I worked in the schools, I worked in the centers. And there was some things that I had challenged in workplaces about some of the mistreatment I was getting, or sometimes my classroom, with being with children in my classroom that seemed to be very difficult. And I was always honest about sometimes the behavior of certain children, and they expect everybody to have that type of tolerance. I don't. Okay, I don't have the tolerance to try to save everybody's child. Or if I see the parent is not really taking any interest in their child's future and education, they just send them off to school and we supposed to work a miracle. Okay, if it's not being a practice at home with your children, if you're not demonstrating that life or modeling that life for your children, especially when they're very young, it's very hard to try to catch certain things that are going on with your child when you're not trying to break it at home, when you're not working with the class, with the teacher, and helping us find a way that we can help save your child. It's very hard when you're not having that type of communication with me. Now, there's some parents I went a mile and over a mile to save their children because of the fact that they were working with me. And then there's just some parents that will just bring their kids in the classroom and they don't even care to participate in nothing that's educational for their child, nothing to help with their child. It was this one little girl in the last center that I worked at. I said to them, we're gonna have a problem, okay? She's 4 years old, but she talk like a grown woman, like she's 40. And then I have a lot of young people that worked in the classroom with me, and I would tell them, look, when I'm talking to them, when I'm trying to correct her, don't interrupt me, because then you making it hard for me to break her, to get her to understand certain things are just not going to be allowed in this classroom. Everybody has to follow the routine of the classroom. That's my way of getting my classroom structured. And sometimes they get in their feelings about things and go and tell the boss things about you, and the boss already in their feelings about you about some kind of way. So I just shared some things that I just had experience from my last employer. And remember, I told you I was on suspension from work, and when I called about my status and everything, I was just never going. I just was like, look, y'all never communicated with me in the proper way. Y'all never returned my phone calls. They didn't return none of my emails. I had reached out to my director. I had asked her my status of my employment there with them so I could move forward, and nobody responded to me. I was not able to go try to get unemployment or anything until I had to hear back from them. My bills was going skyrocket high. Okay, I got a lot of bills to pay, and my husband cannot do everything. You know what I'm saying? Because he's tired. You know what I'm saying? So I need to bring in more, income so we could get. It was struggling here, struggling. Okay, because I was out of work for like 3 freaking months. I just recently went back to work, and it was a struggle, a financial strain on me. I don't go around begging or anything. I had to go and find a way to get my unemployment. And then on top of that, my unemployment wasn't even kicking in. I wasn't even getting no unemployment because my job never responded for my reasons for being displaced from my job, or my reasons for termination, whatever it is that they had to reach out to my employer, that if I didn't quit. So now I just got a letter from the unemployment office. I went back to work now. I just got a notice from the unemployment office stating that, oh, I am able to get I'm eligible for my benefits now. After 3 freaking months, and I went back to work. So they're gonna have to give me all the money that I had to miss out on during that time I was missing out on work and all my bills piled up. And everybody talking about this girl, Afani. Oh, she should have just left. Oh, she should have just like, hey, look for another job. It's not that easy. Because in the meantime, while they was doing their thing to me at work, I was still trying to push ahead and still trying to hold on while I was still looking for another job. It's always easy, more said than done. Okay, how you know the girl wasn't trying to find another job in the meanwhile while her hours are being cut and she's in a bad situation trying to get out of where she was living to a place where she felt safe. Nobody knows this girl's story, but everybody jumping on the bandwagon because, of course, we sorry. It's sad that this mother was killed and stabbed to death on her job in the workplace like that. But we got to go a little bit more deeper than what we saw on the eyes, with the eyes meet. We looking at this girl Instagram account. You could see that this woman was dealing with some mental stuff. Okay, you could see it. It wasn't like it wasn't able to be noticeable. But everybody want to jump on. I was listening to a lot of platforms. Now, some people are making sense about what they saying. They going after the managers. Like, y'all need to stop bullying people, using your power to abuse people on the job. And I know what it feels like for what Afani was dealing with. And believe me, there was things that ran through. You don't believe the stuff I had to sit down and tell my husband. And he said, you just got to calm down. We just going to have to work on what we got, just to keep me safe. But I had that kind of support. And there's some people out there that just don't got that kind of support. We don't know nothing about this girl background, nothing about what we saw about her life on Instagram, but what led her up to be the weird person that she is. We don't know nothing about her family life. We saw none of her family members come out to defend her. Nobody speaking in the public about her, only just what she did. And she came to the point of stabbing this woman to death on the job. We don't know if she was a foster child. We don't know if she's been one of those children that was displaced in the system. We don't know if she even had parents. We don't know if she was passed on for foster home, for foster home to foster home, and just out here an orphan, trying to make it in the world, don't have no family. Some people don't have that. So we can't go around and judge people for sometimes their actions without going more deeper than what we see on the surface. We don't know if this girl has dealt with sexual abuse. We don't know if she had a foster parent that abused her. Because usually people that deal with these kind of personality, these conflicting personalities, or these kind of mental disorders, have experienced child abuse. This didn't start from McDonald's. This was something that could have been building up through life. We don't know her background. We don't know her adverse childhood experiences. So for people to say that she's a murderer, she needs to go to jail, just shut her down. Well, this woman probably been trying to be heard for a very long time, that how she was being bullied, passed through the system, trying to survive, trying to keep her head above water. She was doing some weird, crazy stuff. But then again, there could have been some child abuse. I work in this line of work, and some of the people that I work with that's supposed to be so-called subordinates are crazy as fuck. They don't even need to be there. They have no compassion, no consideration for what other fucking people going through. But as soon as you try to defend yourself, they try to build up some bullshit lies about you and try to fuck up your life. Okay? So this girl probably had took a lot of shit from a lot of employment, just trying to survive, keep her head above water, get into her own little weird fucking world, a place of escape. I'm not condoning violence. I'm not condoning murder, but we always gotta look more deeper than what we see from the surface, more than what we can meet with the eye. See, like God judges us, He doesn't see us through just what's seen covered up. He sees us from the heart. He looks deeper. He sees through a naked eye. We have to know how to use godly wisdom. Because before this young lady became the murderer that she became, something deeper hit her, was going on in her life. And even the part that hit me the most is when she said that Jennifer, the deceased, allegedly pulled a gun out on her own children, and she got very upset about that. And she was like, why would you come to work and say these things? Why would you even be putting stuff out there and bringing all this toxicity in the workplace? Why would you bring all of this negative energy? I always try to bring peace around everybody. I always try to stay in peace, and you always bringing negativity, negative energy around the workplace. And then on top of that, she was venting about all of this stuff. She even said, yeah, yo, you up here saying that you pulled a gun out on your children and everything. So she probably had a special place in her heart for to see children being treated that way. Your own children being treated that way, because you know we hear about these abuse cases about children. We know we hear about these abuse cases that, is very sensitive. Like, she could have been an abused child herself. We don't know what her parents did to her as a child. We don't know what family members might have done to her because she was different as a child. You know what I'm saying? Because you got family members that abuse children because they different. They in their own little weird little way. And they abuse them. They try to, like shun them out. And it's weird that she used to like Chucky so much. Child's Play. That's a sign right there. Child's Play. Remember Child's Play, the doll Child's Play? Chucky? That's why I say you got to be careful how you judge people, because you never know. Because only God knows when I went through what I'd experienced at this last workplace and how it hurted me so deeply. The lies that they said on my documented on me, wrote me up for. And I asked them, who were the people that came and told you this stuff? Because you not get, well, we can't really tell you the name. Why the fuck you can't tell me who the fuck they are? What are the fuck you trying to say it? Why you couldn't tell me if somebody come in and say some shit like that about a worker? Why wasn't they called in the fucking office with me to confirm that shit? So right then and there, I knew it was bullshit. And you know what made it even bad is that my new job, of course, I have to put document, I have to bring in my resume. Also, when you look for another job, you also got to put down the job, the last job you work, your last employer, and you also got to put down references of your last places that you worked and everything. Now, they have to go back and check back and see what kind of worker you was. Those motherfuckers put that shit on and wrote that shit up on my reference for my new job. I said, you know what? They didn't have to go there because now I'm going to put their ass on blast. I went right to their review page, and you know what I found out? I look at it, I see things that people said good about them, and they get this 5-star. Look at that. When it says that, and it's how long ago was that shit said? 8 years ago? I said right there is a catch. That's something they hiding. Because why is it only 8 years ago? It ain't something that somebody recently posted like maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago or maybe even a month ago. Fucking 8 years ago. Staff has changed. Management has changed. All this shit has changed within the 8 years. So why the fuck are y'all not having anything on there recently about people saying, giving a review of your work of your center? I take all that into consideration. Why y'all don't got a updated review? 8 fucking years ago, and you've been in business how long? And how long has this center been over here? And you got new kids. 8 years ago, some of the kids are aged out of this center. We only take them up until they were like 5 years old. And only during the summer program, you might have children there that are 8 and 9 and 10 and maybe 11 and 12. But during the winter, I mean, during the school time is open, when school is open, regular school days, we only take them up until they were 4, maybe 5 years old. And that's our before and after care. We take our before and after care up until they probably like 8 years old, a little older before and after care. We don't. But where's the reviews from parents putting on your website that you're doing such a wonderful job and everything? You know why? Because they erased them. The complaining parents, the ones who come in and write on their reviews that tell them, or staff that sit back and that was either fair staff like me, who may have not had a great experience there, that saw some shady shit that was going on there, and we put it on their review page. Guess what? They take it and they know how to erase it. So you won't know what the fuck is going on. That's why I said I posted that shit on my purposely posted it there and gave the name of the school. So if people ever want to go look them up, I didn't give the state, but I gave the name. So people are going to now take notice, and they are going to find out if this be a place where they want to put their children in a place like this. Y'all try to erase my life, try to fuck me up. You know what? I worked with you motherfuckers, okay? Be careful how you treat your staff. There's another way to kill two birds with one stone. Okay? Y'all try to put shit on my work history file and try to make a bad name for me as I'm trying to move forward. Try to leave y'all the fuck alone. But y'all didn't have to say that. Just say, yeah, I worked there and I was a pretty good worker or whatever. But, things didn't work out. And leave it as that. I didn't fuck with nobody there. I've always came there. I was always on time. I was always on top of my job. I didn't have any conflict in the workplace with anybody. And all that shit was bullshit. And I told my, I said, all of that is a lie. I said, I even got proof here and document that I could show you how I was communicating with these people and the feedback they never gave me. They never gave me any feedback when I was asking them about certain things and they never responded. And I got documentation. I got my documentation. I could have went and took their ass to court and sued them, which I'm trying to consider doing right now. Now that they want to play these dirty games. So I truly can really relate to Afani, how she felt, of how she was treated, and how she was being ignored. About her being bullied in the workplace. Not that I condone violence. I don't condone it. But I can understand with some compassion, with some human compassion. And I'm sorry that, what's her name, was the one to push her over the edge. That mother of her six, the mother with the six children, was someone who pushed her over the head. That's why I said it should go to a higher level, where I think this should not be on Infani, or it should, in that those children, it should be on the owner of this business. How he wasn't using safety policies to protect the employees and also to protect customers in his place of business and on his property. That's where the lawsuit should be hitting at. Okay. I said, I wrote this on my, if y'all want to go on my post community wall, I did write it. I did write, let's keep the same energy for all sides of the story. I said, some of all y'all are quick to say, lock that mentally ill woman up and never let her be hurt again. But I feel differently. I have human compassion, not because I excuse the behavior, which I said I don't condone it, but because I know what it feels like, okay, to be pushed to the edge. I once worked at Cadence Academy preschool where I was falsely accused of things like denying children meals and speaking negatively about parents in front of the kids, not allowing kids to use the restroom, which is a fucking lie. Okay? When I asked for proof who said this, no one could tell me. They couldn't tell me who told them this stuff, right? They didn't tell me the teachers or nothing who said this shit. And I asked to speak to someone higher, certainly no names, no numbers. And I said I realized they were building a case against me. I stayed because quitting would have meant losing the ability to collect my unemployment. I kept working under pressure, applying for other jobs. Then during a chaotic day on the playground, I miscounted a child. She was never lost, just uncounted for, still within our gated playground. But that was the excuse they needed. They suspended me and sent me home without pay. Without warning. I mean, I was also terminated afterwards because I had, after they sent me home and I called them, just like Afani, she'd been sent home 2 days in a row. She came to work, they sent her home. She came back to work, they sent her home again. And she was like, now they messing with my money. You know what I'm saying? I really need to be to work. I need to go to work. I need to make up some hours that I was off. I need to get out of the situation I'm in. I'm in a situation I need to get out of. She said that, right? And that was going through her mind. And in the meanwhile, I'm pretty sure this girl was probably looking for another job as well, to keep maintain living. Just like I had to do. I said, just like when I said when I went to my assistant that day, I'm sorry, but they placed the assistant in my classroom with me for the support. She was a fucking 18-year-old. This girl came in with no experience and no early childhood training. She had no training in this field. I used to have to tell her, look, don't play with the kids like that. Don't pick them up. Don't pull them up on your shoulder. Don't play with them in the classroom. I ain't like all of that fucking goofy shit in my room. No, we ain't here to play with them. We're here to teach them, to model a certain way in the classroom for them. So they learn how to behave and how to be in a classroom. All that goofy playing and shit with them, the kids get out of control. They're not here to play. Now, if you want to play with them, you can sit down and do a learning activity with them. That's playing with them. A card game with numbers on it, letting them see colors, knowing how to identify with their colors, learning numbers, how to identify with numbers, also with letters, something with letters, a game like such. That's the kind of play you supposed to play with them. This fucking girl doing shit like picking them up, putting them up on her shoulder and shit. I don't do that shit. Not That's inappropriate for children in the classroom. Those are not the games I play with the kids. I will sit down and play a board game with them or a memory game with them. That's how they learn and they play. We are not in the playground, and you're not. And don't let them think that you're on their age level. I had to talk to this girl, and I think when she came in my classroom, that's when the problems escalated because I think she was the one going back saying shit to management because I had to talk to her funky ass. Okay, my assistant that day was only 18 years old, no experience, no childhood training. My classroom was overwhelmed, but I carried the blame. You know what I'm saying? When this child named to a face was missing in my group, and it was two girls with the same names, the same similar letters to the last name. So it was easy. They both names were written close together, so it was not easy for me to recognize that the child wasn't counted. And plus, I had other children in my classroom. My classroom was overwhelmed that day, and I had a lot of kids that day. And one of the kids, and I had a lot of kids that day, and all the kids we were more concentrating on the ones who's always eloping when it's time to come in. So we made sure we were focused more on them. And then as we was calling the kid's name to line up, we missed that one child. She was hiding in the playground. So, anyway, moving forward. And I said, all the shit they said against me. And I said I stayed because quitting. And then people were saying things about Afeni and saying, oh, she should have quit her job. She should have just left and went to another. It ain't that fucking easy. And I said it here. I said I stayed because quitting would have mean losing the ability to collect unemployment. And the girl needed her money. I kept working under pressure, applying for other jobs. In the meanwhile, I was applying for other jobs in the meanwhile, but jobs don't come that quickly. You going on interviews here, going on interviews there, trying to meet time to, taking days off or coming in late because you got an interview or whatever with another company. The employers start noticing things like that. So, it's better for them to fire you than for you to quit. You know what I'm saying? Because if you get fired, depending on what you get fired for these days, you know what I'm saying? Like they could always say, oh, well, it was job neglect. Then you got to go through unemployment to fight for your unemployment saying, look, they was already building a case against me. I was out looking for another job. Yes, I had to come in late. Yes, I had to take some days off so I could go on job interviews so I could find another job. You got to go to unemployment and explain all that shit just to get your unemployment because then they going to fuck with your unemployment. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't easy to just like quit a job while you on a job. It doesn't, you ain't got no money to do that. And this girl was struggling. It's not like she had money to just quit a job or she had support that somebody could take care of her until she could find another fucking job. Everybody's situation is different. You can't put your situation in her situation. And how she was being bullied and harassed. And she said this woman was bullying me. And that same day, as she was building up her frustration, she went home, she thought about things, and then she came back masked up with a fucking butcher knife and stabbed the woman to death. So this should be a lesson to a lot of these fucking employers and to these so-called supervisors and managers and all these fucking ones that run around telling on people and getting people fired from their fucking job. This should be a fucking lesson, an eye-opening for them. This should wake their ass up. Because you don't know what a person is going through, where they are in an emotional state of mind or their mental state of mind, especially when you ain't offering no support to them because they might be going through something. Like giving them some kind of, place where they can go, a safe space where they can go and talk to somebody and vent about their situations, what's going on in their life, to help them. But just throw them away and just discard them and just ignore them and just say, oh, well, fuck it, you ain't doing a good job here, you're fired. That shouldn't be allowed. And no retaliation to people that speak on this shit should come after people either. They shouldn't be allowing this shit to happen. Take people's lives as human beings. And everybody comes to that breaking point. Now let's get into the topic about this young lady. I also hashtagged her name in it, Jayslyn Horn. This happened in October of 2024. Another mother was shot and killed by another co-worker. A young man she was arguing with on the job, and they got into a combative argument or whatever, and she took a pan and threw it at him and hit him in his face or whatever like that. And he went back in the room of the office, his car, or back in the lockers or whatever. He left and came back with a gun and shot her and killed her. Was that necessary? If he felt he could have, he was a dude. He didn't have to fucking shot and killed her. He could have hit her, retaliated by hitting her or throwing a pan at her and hitting her with a fucking pan. But to shoot and kill her and murder her, was that acceptable? And guess what? All this motherfucker got was 74 days. And he was let out, and he didn't really spend no time because of good conduct. He did 120 days of good conduct, so he was not allowed. Those 74 days in sentencing, so he really didn't do no time for the murder of this mother who left behind a 4-year-old little girl. And remind you now, black lives supposed to matter, right? This was a black woman, a black mother. Both women were black mothers, and the other woman was also a black mother, whether she was a tether or whatever. But this still is in the black community. And these have been crimes against women. And children left as orphans. Whether we believe it or not, it affects all of us. So all these black people running around here talking about their reparations and da the FBA and all this other, fuck all that bullshit talk. There is some shit going on right now that should be repaired. Okay? Things that has been damaging the black community, that's been hurting us, that's been destroying us, and everything else like that in the workplace, on these jobs, how we are being discarded, ignored, underpaid, overworked. I just did a video with you with a mother who's spending 12-hour shifts working the whole fucking Burger King by her damn self and missing her life away from home with her own fucking children. What kind of life is that supposed to be? I ain't got time to think about what right now with Donald Trump to fucking get rid of all exporting all these illegals. But what about fixing some of the workplaces for us to go work in and be treated right? And treated fairly and paid a livable wage. I'm not going to be sitting around just doing YouTube videos so I could get a cash app, hustling like that at home. No, I don't do YouTube for money. I like to get up and I like to grind for my money. I like to get out and work and have a social life on hands with real people and really be in touch with human life and be in touch with reality. Because YouTube is not fucking reality. You don't know who the hell is back behind these names on these YouTube channels. You don't know who the people are that these followers are that's on these YouTube channels. We just saw some shit with R. Kelly. Half of the fucking people that used to so called riding for him were people really not for R. Kelly. They move on to have another discussion or topic or another trending conversation on another situation taking place with the next victim. While all of these black high profile men in entertainment and they getting hit with all these high RICO charges and every fucking thing. Something ain't right with that. Pay fucking attention. All these these men are being stripped of their wealth. They losing all their generational wealth, all their work and everything else like that and being locked up and being sued millions of fucking dollars. Look at R. Kelly. He shouldn't even fucking still be in jail. They know this was bullshit. I don't even want to like to touch the topic as much because of the fact that they know it's wrong. And they still want to play in our fucking face with it. That's why I can't touch it. Some of the people that I see sitting on these fucking platforms, this ain't a motherfucking game. Because that man should not still be sitting in jail. At all. That man should be allowed to go home and have his life with his new life, with his fiancee, Jazz Joycelyn. And they need to stop playing the fucking games. And his attorneys need to set some motherfucking... They need to fucking get out there and really fight now. Because enough is motherfucking enough. I just saw a picture of R. Kelly pop up, so it just made me feel that way, y'all. But anyway, we back to the story of Afeni. It's trickling down, y'all. Because it makes me motherfucking want to holler. This shit shouldn't have never happened in the workplace to neither one of these mothers. There should have been some protection around them in the workplace. And it should not be ignored. And I think black people need to really start talking about this. Because it's affecting nobody but us. We need to stop playing these games against each other and start trying to unite. Because this is for all of us. This ain't just only for them, for the mothers who are gone and who's been killed by the hands on the job and no protection for them at work, and they being overworked, underpaid. And these workplaces that is a lot of pressure going on. I had a mother come and tell me at the job, look, I need to get home. And I said, girl, she says, you know what? I asked them for such and such and such. And I said, well, how long you been here? You know, I know it's not easy to walk away right now, mother, but this is why I say this kind of work is not meant for mothers who have children at home, young children at home. You got to work with a company that will take your family life into consideration, that you can be home at a certain time for your children. Ain't no motherfucking way I'm going to work in a fucking classroom unless I'm working in the classroom with my own, if I got kids, unless I got that classroom homeschooling my motherfucking kids. There's no way I could come work with other people's kids and I got my own fucking kids at home. That wouldn't be a wise choice for me as a career. I would have to take a job somewhere where I know I could work at least in time, at least till 8 to 4 or some shit like that, so I could be home to get to my motherfucking kids and be involved in my own life with my own kids. And when I see jobs like that, when I see mothers like that on the job where I work at, I feel sorry for them, and I also try to give them some insight. But you know they don't want to listen. You know what I'm saying? They scared to move forward or try something different other than something. And don't come here complaining that you can't be with your kids. This ain't the job for you. You need a job where you could get off on a time where you could be with your family. Unless you're gonna bring your kids in here, and the reason they don't want to bring their kids where I work at is because it costs too much damn money to bring the kids there. Where I work at now, we don't take in purchase of care and purchase plus care, like get supplemented any help and assistance from the government for child care expenses. We don't have that there. You know what I'm saying? We deal with people that can pay out of pocket their own money. We don't take no benefits from the government, which is good for me. Because I'd rather work at a place where I don't have to deal with the families that's on public, like families, because that's when you get all them damn fucking badass kids. Because people want the money. We make them pay the money that we going to be taking care of your kids, and we ain't doing no extra shit. When I was working for the ones that taking that little extra money from the government, them kids were bad as motherfucking hell they bring in there. They expect you to work a goddamn miracle, and then you not, even if you trained in that kind of field, you still ain't trained enough to help they motherfucking kids. While they interrupt and tear up your motherfucking classroom and interrupt your classroom all the time while you're teaching. So keep your motherfucking. I don't blame this company I work for, like this school I work. I'm like, yeah, this is the kind of place God wanted me to be. I ain't got to worry about cleaning it up, no class, no mopping, no floors, no doing this, no doing that. Yeah, I write down things or whatever, the kids' toys and all that stuff. But we do that. At the end of the day, you just throw the toys and let them soak in what you call it, and you just go out the building. Let them soak in the sanitizer or whatever like that in the morning. Then you put them in. They all label for what they need to do. This needs to be washed. Okay, soap, rinse, and dry. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like fuck that. I ain't doing no mopping floors, wiping this down, doing that, cleaning this, cleaning that, cleaning bathrooms and shit. We got a whole maintenance man to do that shit. We got housekeepers to come in and clean our building. We ain't got no goddamn people coming. We gotta clean down every goddamn thing ourselves. And at the end of the day, you can't get out on time. You got when I be getting out every day on time. Like my other job, I'll be 5:30. I'm getting the fuck out of there by a quarter to 6 or maybe 6 o'clock. I'm like, what the fuck? Shit like that. And then when you working with those places where they come in, and next thing you know, you got the state coming in all the time looking around and look for this and look for that. First of all, the classrooms I'm in now, the kids get all the space they need to play, to rest in their classroom. They got their space. I never seen such great, well behaved 1 year olds and well behaved infants and well behaved 2 year olds and 3 years old and smart and can talk and communicate with you so well, and you can say things to them and they listen and they know. I ain't doing all that other extra shit. When you got them damn kids that come in your building that got them goddamn ADHD, and they got special needs, but their parents are also getting purchase of care and purchase plus care. Those are the motherfuckers that fuck your classroom up. Cause the parents that's paying out of pocket for their kids, they gonna make sure their kids are gonna be well behaved and get everything they need from home and know how to act when they come in that classroom. They know they paying for that shit. A whole lot of money. They pay enough money for it. We ain't got them fucked up Badass kids. None of my kids be running around with no snotty noses and have colds and they come into school and they not feeling well and they sick. These kids barely ever. Since I've been there, I haven't seen a child in there been sick yet. Last summer, when I worked at the other place, I seen snotty noses. This child is sick. Oh my God, the messy. It was a mess. It was a mess. It was a real mess. Cause you could tell when they get home and everything, the parents probably keep a dirty, nasty house. And then on top of that, the toys being so dirty, and we don't overwhelm the classroom with a whole lot of toys. We just put just enough out there so the kids can explore with them and play with them or whatever. And the kids seem to be doing they know it very well. The books ain't all ripped up into. I mean, you got some ripped up books and everything, yeah, but in the library area, but not that many. They sitting up nicely so you can read stories to the kids, and you ain't got to worry. No smart board on the board where the kids are watching more video games. I mean, videos and watching things on virtual things. No, we do things on hands, and that's what I like. That's how they learn, on hands. So I don't fuck with them goddamn ghetto centers no more. Like the ones that's just only about the money. They ain't even about teaching the kids shit. They just want to get the money and fill up the classroom because it's all about the profit. This one is all about it's about the money too. But then again, the kids are getting exactly the right kind of nurturing and the love that they need while they there, and they are safe, very safe, and they in a clean, loving, nurturing, everything environment. There's peace in there. There's no damn ratchet shit going on. Now, so far, I haven't seen that either. But some places, man, these damn hating ass, these fat, nasty ass, lazy ass bitches come and work in these goddamn places. They go fucked up life. They got a fucked up life. They come in with their same fucked up life around you, and they bring all that fucking negative energy around you and shit. And then they get mad at the ones who seem to be happy and doing well and everything. They get all jealous of you and they sit there and they start kissing up these fucking directors and telling them all kind of fucked up shit about you, and they all team up and start fucking with your job. You know what I'm saying? That's what the fuck they do. So that girl, Afani, not saying anything bad about Jasmine. I mean, about Jennifer. Because it's sad that Jennifer is gone. But she did have them goddamn 6 goddamn kids. Okay? And she was doing it on her own. And she had a man that was already incarcerated, locked up in jail or whatever. So something that girl was saying, this woman was probably taking her frustration out on her. Because Afani wasn't a bad looking chick. And she was young. She ain't had no kids. So a lot of women, you got to be careful. The ones that have a bunch of fucking baby daddies and a bunch of fucking babies and kids, and they working hard like that. And they see a girl like Ifani with the freedom she had and just free spirit the way she was or whatever. They get jealous of bitches like that. Oh, that weird bitch. Oh, she ain't out here just fucking every dude that come along. She probably just trying to just stay in her world of peace. And that's what she said. I try to stay in my world of peace. And you bring all that negative energy, and believe me, she probably and talking about people and gossiping about people. That's just what the fuck those fucking baby mamas with them fucking damn baby kids, a whole bunch of fucking baby kids and kids stressed out and they working and they taking care of all them fucking kids by themselves. Those bitches do bring a lot of fucking drama in the workplace around a single woman that don't have to deal with all that noise and shit when we go home. Or don't want that noise, and we trying to move in other places of our life while they fucking frustrated with all them fucking badass fucking kids and they ain't got no fucking help at home. Well, anyway, she could get help now. Her kids could get help now. They could sue the damn McDonald's owner for the fucking money. Well, anyway, they ain't gonna get nothing from Afani. Afani's right where she at, and believe me, you know what? She gonna get. It's gonna be a lawyer interested in her case and gonna get her the fuck off for that 25 million bond that's coming down. You better believe that. So anyway, y'all, they gonna fight for her. Somebody gonna be out there to fight for her. Okay. You better believe it. There's some attorneys out there that will be like, yeah, I'm gonna take this case. This is a case study too. like toxicity in the workplace, and this woman was being bullied, and she had a mental health issue that was ignored. Da 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 da. Some attorney gonna take her fucking case. You better believe it is. They going to make some money, okay? They gonna make some money, and they gonna fucking probably come for the damn owner they damn self. So y'all better look out for that one. So anyway, y'all, this is gonna be some interesting shit that's gonna go down because she had a mental health issue going on, and then on top of that, she was making TikTok videos and documenting shit she was going through on the job, and it's a whole lot of shit that could have been prevented. And those fucking attorneys are going to look at her case and they going to fight for her. Even if she do time, she gonna do time, but she ain't gonna do no money. It ain't gonna be no 25 million bond. They gonna give her time for taking that woman's life, but it ain't gonna be to be all the way up to where they gonna give her life or anything of that nature. She's 26 years old. She had a lot of trauma going on in her life, and she, like we said, we didn't even hear from her family yet. We didn't hear nothing from her family yet, and we don't know nothing about what she went through her childhood experience, and there might have been some trauma there. So anyway, y'all, I gotta go. God bless you. I love you and your girl Casey. Man, I just wanted to share my story with you and also tell you why I can. I'm not saying I condone violence. Rest in peace, Jennifer. And this is also Jennifer. What is her name? Jennifer Harris. Rest in peace. And let Afani's story be heard. Don't silence her. Let her story be heard. And also justice for Jacelyn as well. Jacelyn Horn, the mother who lost her life at the Cookout restaurant in North Carolina. That was a very tragic, sad situation. Very tragic. Okay, and I don't think that they served her any right justice either. And the list goes on, y'all. The list, it gotta come to a change. It gotta come to some kind of change, y'all. We can't go on like this. Life cannot continue to go on in the workplace, like workplaces like McDonald's, Burger King, child care centers at these, child care, local child care centers or with corporate child care centers or whatever the fuck you want to call them. Schools or whatever like that in the school system. We can't keep having this kind of bullshit in the workplace where they got these toxic people, managers, supervisors, educators over other educators that do crazy retaliated shit or bring toxicity in the workplace. Anyway, y'all, everybody should be looked into. Everybody should be examined. So, with that being said, I love you guys. You all have a blessed night. And if God's willing, I'll be back with you all tomorrow. Because I doubt if I come back tonight. So, you all be good to yourself and to one another. Peace.